Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to Talking Shit with your boy Sophisticated Jerk and M3. So we got a few clips that we're going to break down today. So the first one, we're going to just go ahead and jump into it. It's the one clip that's been, definitely getting a lot of, I'll say, publicity and stuff out here. And it's Raja Jackson, Rampage's son. He was a big time MMA fighter. I would say a legend, especially back in the day. He was putting in that work. But his son, was at a wrestling event, end up, getting mixed up in, I guess, in, their whole show somewhat, but then kind of overstepped them boundaries and, down there beat the brakes off one of the wrestlers and stuff, definitely stepped over that line. So, I don't know how it all played out so far. There's talks of like, he could possibly go to jail, shit. Nowadays we live in the lawsuit era. So, there could always be some civil lawsuits and stuff. So seems like it's pretty serious, but I'm gonna play these clips and definitely we'll start breaking it down and stuff because I got some questions for you. So let me pull up the first video. Give me 1 second. But yeah, my boy went off in this whole thing. I thought it was like staged at first, but from what everybody's saying, my man was put in the hospital. They saying this shit was real, so he snapped or something.
Yeah, he was the biggest example of a crash out, man.
Yeah, no doubt. But all right, let me play this real quick.
Thank you. New at 11, a man jumped into a wrestling ring during a small show in Simi Valley this weekend and attacked a pro wrestler. Turns out it was the son of former UFC champion Rampage Jackson. And we're about to show you video of what happened, but a warning for you, it could be tough for you to watch. Well, this happened last night at the Knox X Pro Wrestling Academy off of Lincolnshire. You see Raja Jackson jump into the ring, slam Psycho Stu to the ground, and then punch him almost 24 times in the face. We're freezing the video right here because he loses consciousness and is bleeding. But the reaction online has been swift. The academy that hosted the event posted to social media saying this was supposed to be part of a planned wrestling spot that turned into a, quote, selfish and irresponsible act of violence. Rampage Jackson also posted about his son's actions, calling it a case of bad judgment and a work that went wrong. The LAPD said it has not made any arrests, but detectives are looking into what happened.
Damn. So yeah, that's the news clip that came out. So let me pull up one more that gave like I say more of a close up on the whole thing, because the news is gonna blur it out a little bit. But just based on what you've seen so far, do you think it was over the top, M3?
Yeah, I believe like what happened was definitely unnecessary, and a lot of things could have been avoided. I know we haven't got there into the video where you show videos of the beginning of where the crash out began and how dude got hyped into.
Yeah, I'm gonna play all those, but yeah, just based on the fight scene, you definitely think that my man was trying to like damn near kill him or something, like that was over the top?
To be honest with you, like I don't think he had really the intentions to kill him, but he really had the intentions to really harm him and humiliate him. That's for sure. It's
yeah, because man, I think
he did like 27 blows or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. When you punch somebody like 20 something times and they already kind of out of it, that's what I'm saying. That's where it gets excessive. I can see if you came in there, you're like, all right, man, I am gonna blast them a couple of times. But it's just like, man, when once they on the ground like that and they kind of lifeless and you pounding them, and especially if you serious, because at first everybody's like, oh, this wrestling, they know how to punch where it's not that hard. But it's just like if it was real like that, yeah, man, that's way over the top. Yeah. So like you said, he might not have intentions, but shit, that's once somebody's kind of lifeless, that's where you got to have enough smarts to be like, shit, let me get off him. I ain't trying to kill this person and go to jail for some shit, so. But yeah, let me play this one because like I said, it shows a little bit more. Yeah, see. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, you gotta stop this shit, man. Stop this shit, man.
My man legs was wobbling though when he was like trying to slam that dude.
Right. I was a big dude. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, that was a big boy. That's why I was like, but it at first, that's what I'm saying. It looked a little staged and stuff. So that's why at first I thought it was like part of the act. But some of them blows, when you start seeing them, you're like, oh yeah, nah, that's he was hammering that guy. So here's how they kind of started off.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, I guess the wrestler thought he was like part of the show. So he kind of came up to him, and this is the first thing. So let me go ahead and play this one.
Hey, I think that's
What started as a scripted altercation has just turned into a full-blown nightmare.
Come on, man. We're leaving, man. We're walking away, bro. Let's not take the shit.
The story unfolds at a California indie pro wrestling event. Wrestler Psycho Stu would do this to kick streamer Raja Jackson, but the kick streamer may not have realized it was an act. Why? Because during the event, Raja jumped into the ring from the crowd. The audience may have thought Raja's appearance was part of the act, but then it turned into something shocking. He would slam Psycho Stu, ground and pound him, and leave him there motionless. Other wrestlers would step in to break up the violence. Later on, Raja's father would receive a phone call about the incident, and meanwhile, Raja would be roaming the streets.
My bad.
So what's your thoughts on this unfortunate incident?
All right, let me, because I got a couple other ones that's kind of lay it out. Because, you know, most of this stuff was in bits and pieces. But give me 1 second. Let me, because the next one I'm going to play is where the guy's like, this is why I didn't understand, because, you know, he's kind of apologizing. He's like, oh, you know, I didn't understand that you was a part of the show, whatever. He apologizes, and what's his name? Raja kind of accepted it. So that's why I was like, I don't understand why he escalated still, you know.
I appreciate it.
I didn't know. I thought you were
I get it. Still, we're working out. Well, he's gonna come out on your match. I know you keep thinking we're working. We're always working.
I get it. Yeah. I get it now. Now you
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're always working.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like after the beer, where we showed this segment where he hit him with the beer thing, now he's like, oh, okay, I apologize. You know, I thought it was, and you know, he accepted apology. So
Yeah.
give me 1 second. We're just going through some clips, Wally, of showing kind of like how everything played out. But give me 1 second. So here's the one before the incident happened where Raja is kind of acknowledging like, hey, I'm going to jump in the ring and get my licks back.
you guys did. They told me to hit him and just leave. Somebody who pulled me off of him and leave. I'm telling you, I'm gonna hit him as many times as I can. Watch. No, they didn't tell me to fake hit him. They said I could hit him for real. Yeah, they allowed me to hit him for real. If he hits me back for real, I don't give a fuck. I want him to. So you guys did.
Yeah, so you could tell he definitely was feeling a certain way still, where he was like, nah, I'm gonna get a little bit of payback. But my man went super excessive. So we already showed y'all the one clip where, you know, the punches in the ring and stuff like that. But here's where, like, after it went down, how he was kind of like amped up, acting and stuff.
I'm tired of everybody fucking playing with me and shit. Think I'm always playing and shit. Call me bitch and shit. At the end of the day, I'm gonna stand up for myself because I'm tired of everybody fucking playing with me, bro. Real shit.
We're just fucking wrestling.
Shout out everybody.
Yeah, so he was somebody was saying like bunch of people was like kind of teasing him in the chat. That's what kind of set him off because even when he like lost, I guess a match or something, they was kind of going in on him. So y'all think like, which I think kind of set him off like that. Then I heard somebody else was like kind of also talking about how he's tired of like living in his dad's shadow. So y'all think what social media and then being in the shadow kind of fucking with his psyche?
Well, his dad was the ultimate last straw because before he really decided to do what he do, he was like, man, this is the last time my dad's gonna call me a bitch. Because while he was streaming, his dad was also in the chat and called him a little bitch for like allowing the dude to like slap him. So Rampage Jackson or so? So he also
Rampage.
played a part in egging him on too. So
Wally, did you see any of the clips?
I mean, I've seen the clips so far that you showed me, but as far as what's going on with the situation, I've heard of it. It's really like back and forth on the internet as far as like if there's a side where he's guilty or if there's a side where he's innocent, however, amongst people's thoughts overall, because as far as the wrestling match and what happened in that wrestling match, because some wrestlers actually were on his side and then other people were just against him and everything else of, all the situation. I mean, look, it's definitely one of those situations where you can definitely say the spotlight and being whose son is a very questionable statement to where people may want to poke and provoke you in a lot of ways. And I don't know what the relationship is between him and his father is ultimately, but definitely the situation is very much he's not very clear on his emotions because he's roar raging out here one way or another. But
yeah, because hearing people's opinions on this, I definitely think like that being in that shadow and then like what M3 was saying, I think Rampage kind of fucks with him. And I'm gonna play the reaction where his dad found out, but also like I found a clip how he kind of, I'll say like Rampage came from that tough love era, so I think he like picks at his son, but I think the son being in the shadow and stuff, it probably fucks with him a little bit more. So that's why like being in that shadow and stuff like that, probably not having the same level of success and stuff as his father and people fucking with him because all the social media, I think it definitely fucked with his head a little bit. I mean, that's still not an excuse to step over them lines and shit, but you could tell like he got that chip on his shoulder where he's trying to like be the toughest guy around and shit.
Yeah, but his father barely even got that much success as damn stuff. I mean, granted, you probably hit his highest success is like what, reaching UFC and being one of the biggest pride fighters. After that, then what? You're not really a champion, so. Yeah,
but I'm saying, when you barely winning matches, you're probably like average. It's just somebody that even kind of won out like that. Just you being in that same lane. It's. But I do agree with you.
No, yeah, you're right. Because
let me play this for you real quick, Wally. This was the punching part. So I'll stop it right there. But just based on what you've seen, Wally, you think that's like way excessive? And do you think, man, he was like trying to kill him, or do you think he should get some jail time for that?
I mean, I will say this right now, when it comes to the ideal form of wrestling, right, from that side of that clip. Well, first and foremost, right, where was the referee from that match? That's one thing, because you got to know there's a referee. Two, also, there's another thing too. Whatever wrestling promotion that was, they should have been verified if he is sensible enough to handle himself in the ring. Because yes, there is going to be moments where certain people do something, and then boom, you just flare out and you just go ham. Because literally, there's been other situations with other popular, more wrestlers of the pro wrestling generation that had the same thing, right? But to go as far as he did, and him being a little rookie and a young little circuit, it just showed me like, one, did this promotion really check them out? Were they really being smart about bringing him in? And at the same time, of course, like just checking out. Because honestly, let's be real. If mentally you're not here with it, and you're allowing social media stuff, you're a liability. And that right there goes to show you like the fact that you're letting this happen. And then depending on how the scenery of the story played that you're supposed to script out, and he didn't follow the script, and he just constantly just keep banging shots when clearly the guy's down, and they got other wrestlers coming in there slowing him down and all that. So yeah, that was very much immature or very much outraged, whatever situation that was going on at that point in time. But yeah, he needs to get checked. What I say, he needs to go in. He needs to be arrested. Again, that's I don't know yet, because again, I'm hearing also that the guy that he punched like that, he was unconscious or he died. I don't know if he passed away. I don't know what it is, as far as what I'm hearing, because I'm just hearing a bunch of things. But,
I heard he's like still alive, but got like a fractured bones in his face and stuff.
Right. Okay. Cool. So my thing is this: I think honestly, he just needs to be checked out and just put on the sidelines for anger management. Cause like think about it like this: Ray Rice, right? Ray Rice automatically, like in football, we all know what the story, we all know the background, all that, right? He was checked out for the same thing, all that. He was cut from the side of football, and he had to go work on himself. I think this is the same thing. You need to put him aside, and you got to let him go work on himself, because there is something there where it's too much. And if it's social media, then dude, disconnect from social media. Like, who cares what they think? They're not doing what you're doing, and they're not even competing with you. So who cares? People are just talking. That's all it's going to be. This is all psychology at the end of the day. People are going to talk, but they're not doing what you're doing. Who cares? And if your father is on some BS, then F your father and kick him out of your life. Because regardless if he's from yesteryear or not, he still got to be a parent. And if he ain't checking with you because he wants to do whatever, or he's in that old thinking mindset, then you got to cut him off.
Yeah. No, that's a good point, because I think, that little, because it seems like a little smaller wrestling organization. It's just like, man, you can't risk just pulling people in, because like you said, I remember back in the day, WWE, you had like all kind of people that would show up to events, but they would like get them involved like probably like a month or something before time. They'll like go through they'll practice, the whole sequence, make sure they're involved, probably get some paperwork on them. So for them to kind of just wing it like this, that's dangerous. Because like you said, man, you don't know who's stepping in that ring. And, we now live in a time of like lawsuits. So it's just like, that was very, dumb for them to even somewhat try to pull them in. Like, hey, man, go ahead, hop in there. Like, nah, if we ain't like practice some of this stuff.
Like business contracts for sure. I don't know, like, what's the idea on the business contract when it comes to wrestling, as far as like the liability factor of someone getting hurt or, God forbid, possibly almost dying. But yeah, it's just one of those things. But even then, it's like most cases you can't ever predict if someone's gonna, what. It's just more so of a what happened, what really caused it at that point. Because I ain't gonna lie, if you're punching somebody in the face like that, I don't think that's gonna cause someone to be dead per se, unless you did something.
They said it in a news clipping we was watching. He hit him like 20 something times.
Yeah. No,
that's when you're breaking bones in the face, like, even though you might not mean to do it, it's one of those things like,
yeah, I mean, he
definitely like assault territory.
He definitely just lost it. I just think, like, I don't know what the scenario is. Like, was the match done and he kept on going, or however it is? But I'm just saying, like, I don't know what the setup was, because again, unless they say like he almost could have died because of this, and then of course him adding on was an added factor or something like that. That's something different. But that's why I'm just saying, like, I don't know, like the whole scenario, because I just like, it is what it is. But
yeah, but for it's just like, man, when you're in certain things, man, I like what you said. It's just, man, you can't you gotta have thick skin, because you might not always have the success that somebody else has. But it's just like you said, man, you're a fighter. So even if people are teasing you, man, if they ain't got the balls to like get in the ring and do what you're doing, man, you just blow it off, man. So he does got to get thicker skin, and I kind of see why Rampage comes from tough love, because I think, man, when you do combat sports, man, there's a lot of, like, I'll say hazing and teasing going on, because it's just a high testosterone type of environment where, man, we crack jokes, man, we're calling each other punks and stuff. Because, like my son, I was very good at wrestling. That was one of my sports. So he went down a path, and, I'm all like, man, you got to stop being a punk. You got to work and stuff. Because the dangers that come with like combat sports and stuff. So you're kind of, trying to condition their mindset and stuff like that. But I do think, man, you got to recognize if somebody's built for that. So like with my son, I wasn't way over the top, but yeah, there was some of that like tough love going on, and just being a little, I'll say, mean. So there's a lot of that.
Yeah, I think, but this is the big thing that was really funny to me, because it's like, looking at it, you can definitely tell Ranja, he has his father's like temper issue, right? He has his temper tantrums. He has his own temper issues. I don't know where he grew up and who he grew up with, if he grew up with his father around or however it is, but it just seems like he really doesn't know how to control it, because he's
not definitely
road raging out there, and he definitely got it from his father, because his father was doing the same thing a little bit.
Yeah, so definitely, he's gotta do something. Like, if this stuff is like too much pressure, where he's, like you said, either it's anger management or the pressure of that, it's like, man, you might need to step away from this sport. And if you're taking it too personal because of like you took an L or something, so it's just like, man, you can't sit there and be flipping out, because it's gonna be costly. It could cost you jail time if, say, that dude presses charges, or, like I said, civil lawsuit, man. So it ain't worth it. But let me go ahead and pull up this clip real quick of Rampage finding out about the whole thing, how it played out.
He okay. He went low. I saw. He said, "Now my son's okay." I worry about my son, but I'm telling y'all something. My son got me in him. Wait, hold on. Verbal typo. My son got my DNA in him. I ain't worried about him. He tough as fuck. He okay.
Yeah, so that was one of the responses and stuff like that. But you could tell he's kind of like definitely nervous and stuff. But like you said, Wally, like he kind of even mentioned, Raja's got a little bit of him in there. So yeah, if he was like M3 said, if he was making them comments kind of setting them off, it's like, all right, come on, Rampage, you can't be doing that shit. He's kind of like you, and it'll set him off and get him doing some dumb stuff. It's like,
yeah, but I ain't gonna lie though, it's like, if his anger coming from his dad, then take it on your dad, then. But if it ain't really coming from dad, for me, it's like, all right, let's say hypothetically he is in an issue where he does feel pressure from his father, but it's as different from the standpoint of being picked on from everyone else. It's like his father may be like, it's an added, but he's like, okay, I brush it off. But everybody else is like, okay, now it's getting to him. I think that's just what that is. Because, like, it's one thing when your dad tells you, it's one thing when everyone else starts telling you the same thing. And then everyone else telling you the same thing is just a more problematic thing.
Okay, I got you. So you're saying, like, since it's linking up, because, social media could be rough, because, like you said, everybody's in the chat like, man, you suck. You ain't nothing like your father. And then your dad's kind of saying it. And then it's like, okay, man, it's...
it's like people connecting. It's just connecting dots in you. And it's like it's pushing you off.
Yeah, because I think it seemed like he was reacting to the social media more than anything. It's because, like, even when he was walking down the street, we played that clip. He's like, I'm tired of everybody fucking with me. And so it sounded like that pressure is getting to him. But that's where he's got to make the decision. Like, you know what, man, this is a little too overwhelming. I might train and stuff, but I don't need to be a fighter that way. I'll just do it to stay in shape and find something else if I can't hack all the criticism.
Right.
No, that's a good point, Wally. But all right, this is how kind of like I'm gonna show this clip to show how Rampage kind of fucks with him and stuff like that.
I don't want you no more. I don't want you no more. So hey, nigga, I disowned you. Nigga, I don't want you no more. I want another son. I want another son. I don't want you.
So, you know, that just showed a quick clip, kind of like how he kind of come at him and stuff. So
yeah, and that right there, that's the prime example of, yeah, he's doing too much. He's doing way too much right there.
yeah, I agree with that one, because when I seen that one, I'm like, yeah, you gotta calm that down. Like I'll just be like, man, you got to like a little punk, man. You gotta. But I don't. Yeah, I'm not gonna disown my kid because of their level of success. And one thing I did when like I made sure I was like, man, look, you don't have to do wrestling because I did it or anything else, man. You know, do what you want to. Don't worry about like winning, man. Have fun. You know, I made sure I didn't coach my son because I'm, you know, I was like, I know I'll be over the top, so I made sure like somebody else coached him, and whenever he wanted, you know, like extra training or something like that, then you know, if he wanted that, I was like, come to me then at that point. But I never like forced it on him, because I do think if you're an overbearing parent, it's like, man, you got to give some space. I know it's hard, especially when they get in your sport, because it's like, man, you want them to excel past you, but it can't always be about you and your ego. So I do think like some of the parents like Rampage, because like I said, I had it in myself but I made sure I didn't make it about me, and I took that step back, and I wouldn't coach my son until like he actually wanted to be in that sport and asked for the, you know, the help and stuff.
Yeah.
I knew I would fuck him up. You know, I knew I'd be just mean. Nah, man, I knew my personality, so I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, and that's just the thing with it, right? It's just because again, right? It's like, what are the chances, like overly, like through the bloodline, everyone's gonna come here and do what you did beforehand, or do it better, or do it as much the same? It's not always the case. Like some cases, yeah, you see that, you know what I'm saying? Like Steph Curry's dad was in the game, and then he came in. He's pretty much a little bit more of the better, you know, he became better than his own father.
Yeah.
What the other brother, which is the other son, pretty much around the same or a little bit ahead of his father. So, you know, okay, fine. You know, there's some exceptions, but most of them, they don't come over and then do what their father did and just, you know, run ship. It's not always the same. So it may not even mean the same sport. It's so, you know, they're going to do something probably up there, but just not the same way you want it to be.
Not facts. What was that, M3?
No, I agree with you guys. Even though I don't really get heavily and deep into like the whole like, you know, wrestling thing, but I will definitely say, like, as far as on the parental side of stuff, yeah, like, you know, if that was me in that situation and, you know, I had a kid that was into a sport that I was heavily into, let's just say tennis or whatever, right? Or maybe esports type of thing. PlayStation, that is. But, Wally. But,
Really?
You know, I mean, I'll allow like my kid to have the space, like the freedom where it's like, okay, it would be enjoyable for him or her to come to me when you need help and not much of a burden or of a chore. The last thing I want to ever do is apply pressure, too much pressure, but also give them the realism that, hey, like, you know, in the real world, like this is how it's going to be, you know, and you know, only the strong man will reach up to the top. But at the same time, I want to go too far as like taking personal shots, you know, getting to the mental, talking about disown them and all that, because, man, like, the ego is very fragile, man, and you know, especially like as you know, like young guys, like, you know, they go through like a lot as it is. You go through the peer pressures of society, now social media to add on to it. And then when you have a dad that is like telling you these things, it's one thing like if he's saying this stuff like in private, right, which he shouldn't do, but he's also saying this like into the public. So then you are always like going to have like that type of statement out there forever for the world to see and make fun of. So I could kind of see how like dude like Snap after social media started getting into his head, and his dad, like, jumped into it, which made it even worse. But it's no excuse, like, to take out on a person who also made a mistake, apologize, own up to it, and they try to, like, make it work for him. So that's my
Yeah.
take to it.
No, I totally agree with you, man. Because I do think, man, like I said, I understand Rampage's mindset. Because like I said, we came from that background, man. We just talked so much shit, and we kind of thrived off of it, So I think we think like everybody thrives in that also. So I had to change my mindset and be like, all right, man, I can't push it to that. But we also didn't have social media. So I think that's sometimes like us old timers, we don't understand. It's like, man, we talk shit. But like what Wally pointed out, it's like, man, when you mix in like the social media that he's dealing with, on top of that, the father, then M3, what you said, he's doing it in public. It's like damn near trifold that's coming at the kid. So I think people like me, man, we just didn't think about it like that. Like, damn, that's a lot that we didn't deal with, like all of that. We just talk shit. So that we only had like one lane, but we didn't have the social media pressure and all these other things. So I do think parents got to open up and start realizing that and be like, man, I could tease a little bit, but not over the top. And like you said, M3, it's like, I don't need to embarrass him in public and talk about disowning them and shit. So yeah, people just got to get better. So to learn from this story, just like, man, don't push your kids too much. It's hard, man. Cause when you see your kid and you'd want them to get better than you did and to have those achievements, sometimes you're like, yo, man, I gotta motivate them somehow. How do I do that? So that's when, the shit talking kind of happens. Cause you're like, man, I gotta make them, that animal come out and stuff like that. But yeah, you got to fall back. I had to learn how to do it.